Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Bob Spino, and this is the Sports Show with Bob Spino. We're going to go over week 3 of the college football schedule and this coming week 2 of the NFL. Last week, folks, I was actually, and I didn't pick points. I had to get the show out really fast. Oh, by the way, Rob's not with me tonight. He'll be back tomorrow, though. I had to do it really fast, and I didn't do point spreads. And as a rule, I'm not going to do point spreads. But you might want to listen because I did try to prove a point. And the point is the home team wins a whole lot. So much so that I was 76-9 last week. You might want to think about that for a while. So if you wanted to bet every game, put a little down on it, maybe on the money line, all of them. Yeah, you would have lost 9 times, but you would have won 76. And you probably would have made a profit. But anyway, that being said, oh, by the way, the pros, I was 8-8, which is normal for the first game of the year. You don't know anybody. There were some surprises. Buffalo definitely surprised me. Josh Allen, I've been saying it about him from the first day. I just don't believe in the guy. He overthrows receivers, and he did it again. He played like he was a rookie his first game. He fumbled, which he does a lot, especially when he runs, and he ran too much. And he was the reason the defense eventually gave up points, because if you're not going to score against Ben, who's great, don't mess with Ben because he's going to beat you. And they did. And that put pressure on the D. They were on the field pretty much the whole second half. And that's what happens. You lose. So they got beat. Also want to talk about one other thing. I want to talk about Oregon. Okay. And Florida, because I got those wrong, but the Oregon thing, I told you guys, don't be surprised if they win. The Pac-12 is really good this year. And they're 12th in the country. And I told you Ohio State's terrible. And now I realize that the quarterback, not only is he not as good as the ones before him, Fields, and the other one before him, but the defense is maybe the worst it's been in like 25 years. They can't stop a parked car. They just can't. And Oregon took it to him. And I said, don't be surprised if Oregon wins. And I would have picked Oregon if they were at home. I just gave a little bit of an edge to Ohio State, but I'll never make that mistake again. If Ohio State plays anybody good, I'm picking against them because they're just terrible. And, Notre Dame had a close call. I did win the game, but they almost blew it too. Like I said, they're not that good. They don't have a D. They lost their best player to the Cleveland Browns. So, and by the way, I picked that one right too. Kansas City won. I know I'm jumping back and forth pro college, but it's just coming to my head. So Kansas City won, and I knew it was going to be close and tight. And Cleveland, in my mind, is now the second best team in the AFC. If it was anybody else but Mahomes, the Chiefs would have won. And I said it would come down to Baker. And once again, Baker at the end threw the big interception. If he didn't do it, and Chubb uncharacteristically out of character, how about that? He fumbled, and he never does. And neither does Hunt, for that matter. Kareem, he doesn't. He never did with us. One time he fumbled. I think he fumbled once in his whole career, his first play from scrimmage, and he never fumbled again to this day. But, Chubb fumbled, he never does. And those 2 turnovers were the thing that set the Browns. They would have won. And they almost won anyway. They almost pulled it out at the end. But it's just Mahomes being Mahomes. It's funny, when they were down 22-10, it seemed like Kansas City was just not really in an urgent mode in the fourth quarter. And I thought, you better step it up. You got to score quick. And I know Sooner said it, that, Mahomes rolls out to the right and throws back across his body to the middle of the field. And of course, Hill catches it. Boom. First play, touchdown. All of a sudden, it's not 10 no more, or I'm sorry, not 12 no more. It's down to 5. And then, after the interception, Kansas City took it from there. But it was the best game of the day, and it went the way I thought it would. The other games, I picked the Pats, but the truth is, they really should have won. They fumbled at the end. I picked Washington. They did the same thing. They fumbled on their own goal line. They would have beat the Chargers. And the Pats aren't very good, and Miami's not very good. I mean, their defense is good, but the rest of that team isn't. And Tua is just average. They're really not. I think the Bills will beat them this week, but we'll get into that. But anyway, But, I mean, also I picked against Florida, not because I didn't think they were going to win. I did think that, Southern Florida was a little better than that. They're terrible. But they did a couple dumb things that kind of changed the game early. They dropped open passes and stuff like that. But in any case, I mean, they did win, but I know they're not going to win this week. Definitely not. I don't care where that game is. They're not winning. But notice how the home team wins a lot. And that's my point. I'm trying to teach you guys here. And they never talk about it on ESPN, and they should. They should talk about it on every sports show. They don't. But we're going to get into that right about now, because I'm going to just punch it up and we're going to get into it. Okay. Hope you guys can see me. The first game's on Thursday night, and it's Ohio against Louisiana, Lafayette. And, Louisiana's home, and they're pretty big favorites. So I'm definitely picking them. UCF against Louisville. Louisville's at home. But UCF's pretty good, like they always are. I'm going with UCF on the road. I think they're going to take them out, but it's going to be close. Whenever the game's on the road, it's always a lot closer, folks. Okay, Maryland at Illinois. Maryland, they're looking pretty sharp. They're scoring a lot of points. They may have had an injury or two. I don't know if their quarterback got hurt. If that's the case, it could change, but I'm picking Maryland. New Mexico at A&M. I believe New Mexico's quarterback got hurt. I'm sorry, not New Mexico. I'll try it again. New Mexico at Texas A&M. I believe A&M's quarterback got hurt. That's what I meant to say. If that's the case, that could change things, but not this week. Texas A&M is much better than New Mexico, and they're home and they'll win. Okay, Cincinnati at Indiana. Interesting game. Cincy is in the top 10, but they're on the road. I mean, they should win the game. But maybe I'll go with an upset, Indiana at home. These are the kind of games upsets happening, so we'll see. But don't be surprised if they don't win, since he is ranked. But I'm picking Indiana. Coastal Carolina, who's also ranked, against the Buffalo Buffs. That's not their real name, folks. I just like to call them that. Well, Coastal Carolina is pretty darn good. And the Buffs aren't bad either. They're not ranked, but they're pretty solid. You know what? Okay, I'll go with Coastal Carolina, but it wouldn't shock me at all if they didn't win. Buffalo's not bad. So, but I'll go with the ranked team. Not that that matters, because I do believe LSU was ranked against UCLA, and UCLA took them apart, in the first week 0, whatever that means. Michigan State against Miami. Miami, they're home. I think they'll win. Here's one that used to be a rival, big-time rivalry, and a legendary game every year. And it was played on the week of Thanksgiving. And back then, before all the playoff stuff, if you played on the week of Thanksgiving, you were elite. And Nebraska played Oklahoma every year. And whoever won that always had a chance to win the national title. Nebraska is not nearly as good as they were then, and Oklahoma still is pretty darn good. Will they win it all? No, they have a lot of issues, but they're good enough at home to beat an old rival. So I'm going with Oklahoma. Northern Illinois against Michigan. They're good. They're going to beat Ohio State. I've been saying that for about 3 or 4 weeks now. Before the season started, I said it. Saying it again. Michigan is pretty darn good. Sadly, they did lose their best player, their wide receiver, but they're good enough to beat Northern. They're good enough to beat Northern Illinois at home. I can tell you that. So I'm going with them. Chattanooga, Kentucky. Why not? They're home. Southeast Missouri State against Missouri. Missouri. Definitely. And you know what? I'd like to say something about the Iowa game. I knew both teams were good. They were 9-10 last week. I only gave the edge to Iowa State because they were home, but I really shouldn't have, and I should have known better, because I know Iowa just doesn't give up a touchdown, and they're really good. That was one of the few I got wrong last week, but it was close and it was rival. And in rivals, you never know. I've seen a lot of rivals that weren't as good as the other team they were playing and take them out, especially at home. But Iowa's for real and they're good. And I apologize to the people in Iowa. Okay. I just said Southeast Missouri State against Missouri. That's Missouri. I got this one right, and Rob got mad at me last week. I said Syracuse would not win against Rutgers at home. They did not. Rob got all bent. He sent me a text going, I've not talked with Rob in a little while, so but his text made me laugh. He goes, "We got cheated." Yeah, you're also not good. How about that? But you will win this week. You got Albany. You got Albany. Sorry, you got Albany at home, and you'll beat them. So, but that being said, you're not very good. You're not going to win many games. Texas Tech at Tennessee. Tennessee at their home. They didn't win last week, but they will now. Connecticut at Army. Connecticut's horrible. Army's pretty good. Army. Virginia Tech against West Virginia. Interesting game. It's close. Virginia Tech's ranked. West Virginia's looking for an upset. They're pretty good. I'm going West Virginia in the upset. They're home. Western Michigan at Pittsburgh. Okay. Boston College at Temple. Boston College. They're actually pretty good. Temple, not so much. I'll go Boston College on the road. Minnesota, Colorado. Good game. Colorado only lost by 3 to a ranked team. I'm going to go Colorado this time. They're home again. So, and you know what? I don't know if they'll lose 2 games in a row. I'm going to go with the Pac-12. Minnesota's good, but they're not great. They're really good, but they're not great. Colorado. Nevada at K-State. K-State. Although I believe Nevada's pretty good, but K-State. Purdue, and I know they had a major injury against Notre Dame. I'll go with Notre Dame. They're number 12. I don't know why. They're not very good. But I'll go. They're home, and I'll go with them. Drew Brees is not playing for Purdue anymore. So Notre Dame. Georgia Tech at Clemson. Good game. Georgia Tech's pretty solid. They score a lot of points. And Clemson isn't what they were. But I think they'll win this game. They're home. So I'm going Clemson. Here you go. Florida kind of bit me a little bit last week, but not this week. Alabama's going to destroy them. They play in Florida, and Alabama will win at about 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. And that's the reason for that is the game starts at 3:30. By that time, it should be over. Alabama. Okay, SC against Washington State. Folks, I picked SC to lose last week at home. I said they weren't that good, and they are not. So much so they fired their coach. The other day they fired their coach. And you know what? It wouldn't shock me at all if Washington State beat them. They're not great, Washington State, but they're home, and they're tough at home. So, and Pullman's a really long trip, really difficult to get to. It's almost in Idaho, really. It's really hard to get to, and it's a long trip. I think SC is going to lose to Washington State. Like I said, I thought Stanford would go in there. They changed quarterbacks last week, and they beat them. And yeah, they beat them. So, like I said, I just think that SC is going to lose this game, but it'll be close, and SC could win it. Washington State's not great either, so, but I can see it. I can see a little bit of an upset. Not much, but a little. Okay, Tulsa at Ohio State. Ohio State, they won't lose 2 weeks in a row at home. SMU at Louisiana Tech. Interesting game. Louisiana Tech, maybe. You know what? I'll go. Yeah, all right. I'll go with Louisiana Tech. It'll be close. It could go either way. LIU Post against Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio. Kent State at Iowa. Iowa. You made me believers. I'm going with you. Idaho at Oregon State. Oregon State. I'm going with that. Florida State got upset last week. They lost. They're at Wake Forest. Maybe Florida State. We'll see. But maybe Florida State. I mean, if they lose 2 weeks in a row, that'll kill them. They got to win almost. So I'm going to say Florida State. Eastern Michigan at Massachusetts. Massachusetts, they're home. Elon at Appalachian State. Appalachian State, I'll go with them. Delaware at Rutgers. Rutgers, they're going to get better real fast, folks. That coach is amazing. He's going to recruit. They're not going to be so great this year, but they're going to be really, really good in a few years. So, and they're pretty good now. Rutgers. Bryant at Akron. Akron. Baylor at Kansas. Kansas is not very good. I'm going to go with Baylor, but you never know. It's on the road. But I'll go with Baylor. Northwestern at Duke. Good game. Close. Duke in the upset. What the heck? North is pretty good, but they're not great. Sacramento State at Cal. Cal Bears, I'm going with them. Mississippi State at Memphis. Thank you, Mississippi State, for making me look good last week. You won at home. I said you would. I said I did it despite ESPN because they said there's an 83% chance that NC State will beat Mississippi State. And I said, no, Mississippi State's going to win. And ESPN is not very smart. And it happened. Mississippi State did win. And thank you for that. I appreciate you guys making me look pretty good. In this game, you're better than Memphis. It is in Memphis, and it is on ESPN. I think that's interesting. Memphis State. I'm sorry, not Memphis State. Mississippi State. I'll give them the edge, but it's going to be pretty close. Okay, Colorado State at Toledo. Toledo. I don't know. No, what? You know what? I don't know how good Toledo is, to be honest. I'll go Colorado State. Ball State at Wyoming. Wyoming. They're home. Arkansas. And I picked them to win against Texas last week, and they did. And they're going to beat Georgia Southern, too. And they're home. Arkansas State at Washington. Washington's terrible. But they should be able to win this one. I'll go with them. Murray State at Bowling Green, who let me down last week. So, you know what? I'll pick them again. We'll see if they'll win this time. The Old Dominion at Liberty. Liberty. We'll go with Liberty. Middle Tennessee against UT San Antonio. I'll go with San Antonio. Fordham against FAU. FAU is not bad. I'll go with them. Eastern Carolina at Marshall. Marshall. Charlotte, Georgia State. Georgia State. Grambling at Houston. Houston. Southern Florida, who's disgustingly bad. They're home, though, against Florida A&M. And I'll go back and give them one more try. I'll go Southern Florida. FIU against Texas Tech. Utah against San Diego State. Utah. We'll go with Utah this time. Let's see if they can pull it off. Georgia against South Carolina. Good game. It's in Georgia. I'm leaning Georgia. I think they'll win. Troy at Southern Mississippi. Southern Miss. Incarnate Word. I'm a Catholic. It's my favorite name school against Texas State. Texas State, I guess. Oh, this is a great game. Auburn, Penn State. Well, Penn State's 10th. I don't think they're that good, but 10th. Auburn's on the road. They're going to have a whiteout down there. Somebody told me that goes to Penn State. Auburn should win, but it's Penn State, and it's a wild day in their place. I'm going to go with Penn State in the upset. Furman against NC State. NC State will win this time. Central Michigan against LSU. Yeah, enough said. Virginia at North Carolina. Good game. Leaning North Carolina. Oregon, the monsters of the Northwest against Stony Brook, Oregon. UAB against North Texas. UAB. Utah State Air Force. Tulane is actually pretty good, and I want to say I don't know, because of the hurricane, they couldn't play some home games, so I had to play them on the road against Ole Miss. Ole Miss in a close one. Tulane's pretty good, really pretty good. Stanford and Vanderbilt. Stanford. South Carolina State at New Mexico State. New Mexico State. I'll give it to the home team. Rice at Texas. Texas will recover. They'll win. They did not win last week. Jackson State at UL Monroe. I'll go with UL Monroe. We cover them all, folks. I'm just going to lay them out. Alcorn State at Southern Alabama. Oklahoma State at Boise State. They made a nice comeback. They won last week, I believe. So, yeah, I'll go with them. Northern Arizona against Arizona. Arizona's terrible, but they're home, and they should be able to win this one. Arizona State against BYU. In a close one, BYU. Iowa State, UNLV. Iowa State should win this one. But it's on the road, so you never know. Okay. Fresno State against UCLA. UCLA. Fresno's not bad. They're not. They've been in every game pretty much. But we're just a little too good for them. I think we'll win at home. And which is setting us up for a few weeks down the road. We play Oregon at UCLA. So that should be interesting. San Jose State on Sunday night against Hawaii. I think they're having a night for the quarterback that died. I'm going with Hawaii. And that is my college picks. And now I'm going to punch in and we're going to go pro. Let's go pro. Why not? Okay. We're punching in and we're going to do this right now. As soon as it scrolls in. Okay. Here we go. Ready? Everybody ready? This is not it. I don't know why. But it should be it. Schedule. Okay. It's coming up. All right, on Thursday night. Okay. And believe it or not, it still hasn't come up. But I know who's playing on Thursday night. And it's Washington at home against the Giants. And I think Washington's going to beat them. They really should have beat the Chargers last week. I mean, they just should have. They fumbled on their own 5-yard line. And, that broke them. Even then, the Chargers had trouble scoring. And, but, I really think that the Giants showed me nothing. They absolutely showed me nothing. And they're not very good. So, yeah, I'm definitely going with the Washington football team, whatever you want to call them. I still call them the Redskins, but I know it's going to upset some people. I really don't care because that's their team name. I actually talked with Doc Walker, who played on the Redskins and covers them. And he's very upset. He's like, I'm very disappointed with the D. The offense is lost. But I told him not to worry. The Giants are more lost. So I'm definitely going with that game. I'm definitely going with them. So, okay. Now we have, it finally came up. I have Cincinnati at Chicago. Cincinnati did win last week. I picked them to win. But I think Chicago will beat them. It's in Chicago. Chicago got smacked by the Rams last week, but they won't this week. And Cincy is a lot better than they were, which is not hard because they weren't very good, but they're not going to win this game. Chicago's going to. Houston at Cleveland. They're the second best team in the league, folks. There's no getting around it. And they lost to Pat Mahomes. That's the only reason they lost. Cleveland is going to be heard from. I think they're better than Buffalo. And we'll talk about the Bills, how terrible they were the other day. But I think Cleveland's got Houston at home. LA against the Colts. The Rams are really good. I mean, they are. I kind of think that they could beat them. And the Colts didn't show me anything. They, for a good D and all that, they were pretty flat. So I will kind of lean towards the Rams here, but it is on the road. You never know. But I think the Rams will win. Buffalo at Miami. Okay. The Bills, I think they're going to win. They have to come back. They can't lose 2 in a row. And this game is big for the head-to-head. They need it. And Miami's not that good, folks. Look, their D is good, but their offense and overall team is not. And Tua is just okay. He's not great. I know he got hurt, but he should be pretty much back by now. And he still hasn't. He almost threw an interception that sunk their boat the other day against the Patriots. I'll get it out, folks. But I just don't see Buffalo losing again. I know it's on the road, but they're just the best team in that division, and they're better than Miami. And I believe they're is it a 3-point favorite? I thought I saw. Yeah, I believe that's about right. But 3.5 maybe. But I think they're going to beat them. Josh has got to wake up and come through. I said a couple of years ago, they're never going to win with this guy. They're never going to win a Super Bowl with this guy. I said it. I believe it. Unless he vastly improves or everything just falls their way and everybody gets hurt on the other teams, or they all just get upset before Buffalo has to play them. And Buffalo somehow manages to wiggle in and then, pulls it off. But outside of that, and they're all exceptions to the rule. As the rule, I just don't ever see it. And he's got to improve. If he does improve, they have a shot. But my guess is he's not going to, and they're never going to win with him. He just isn't good enough. He's just not good enough. It's that simple. Okay, so I got Buffalo. New England at the Jets. The Jets. Wilson wasn't bad. I knew they weren't going to win. I knew Sam Darnold was going to get him. I knew Carolina was going to beat him. But I think the Jets are going to beat New England this week. I really do. Okay, San Francisco at Philly. Philly played great, but they played against the worst team in the league, the Falcons. Probably San Francisco. Philly's home. They'll be in it for a while. But I think that the 49ers will win. The Raiders at Pittsburgh. The Raiders are only maybe a 3-man team. They have one great defensive player. They have Carr, and they have Waller. Their tight end. That's it. That's all they got. I did expect them to win. I picked them to win against the Ravens. It took a couple fumbles by Jackson, who runs too much. Like I said, he also is overrated. He needs to stop running. But they did win. But they're not winning against Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh. No. So I got Pittsburgh. The Saints against Carolina. Saints really took apart Green Bay. Aaron, this is what happens when you don't show up and cause trouble the whole off season. It's what you deserved. I'm glad you got it. I'm glad they destroyed you. And again, that game was on the road in New Orleans. See what happens. It's all different on the road. But New Orleans at Carolina. Interesting. I'm leaning New Orleans, but Carolina's home. And they're all, they could beat them. Let's go with Carolina. I don't know if I trust when he played a great game, but he does throw a lot of interceptions. So I don't know. I'm leaning Carolina. Denver at Jacksonville. Denver. They destroyed the Giants last week. Minnesota at Arizona. Arizona. They look great. And what happened to Tennessee? You talk about a team that died. Again, the inconsistency of Tannehill. That was almost like his Miami days a little bit. That whole team played lousy, and Zona destroyed them. But Zona is home this week, home opener. They'll beat Minnesota. Atlanta at Tampa. Tampa. Yeah. Enough said. Dallas at the Chargers. Good game. I think the Chargers might take them out. I'm going with the Chargers. But Dallas is good. They're definitely good. But they can start 0-2. It doesn't matter how good they are. They can start 0-2. I'm going with the Chargers. Tennessee at Seattle. Ooh, tough game, you know. One team won, one team lost. Tennessee needs the game. But Seattle's home. So I'm going to go with Seattle. But that one's going to be close. Swing either way. The Chiefs at Baltimore, the Chiefs. I don't believe in ball. Look, their defense actually played better than I thought it would. They played really well because they have lost some players over the years. But between their injuries and the fact that it's the Chiefs and Jackson's never beat Mahomes in his life, I think he's 0-3. I'm going with Kansas City's the best team. It would help if they had a better running game, but and maybe one more wide receiver, but they're the best team, and I think they're going to win. Detroit at Green Bay, Green Bay. You know, I know Detroit's kind of beaten on them the last couple of years, but Green Bay. Okay, folks, so I'll run it back one more time, okay? These are the teams I got. Washington against the Giants. These are the teams I think are going to win. Washington against the Giants. Chicago against Cincy. Cleveland over Houston. The Rams over the Colts in a close one. Buffalo over Miami. I'm almost sure of that, actually. Buffalo over Miami. The Jets over New England. Pretty sure of that, too. San Francisco over Philly. Pittsburgh over Vegas. Raiders, Oakland, Los Angeles, whatever you want to call them. The Saints over Carolina. No, I'm sorry. Carolina over the Saints. Denver over Jacksonville. Arizona over Minnesota. Tampa Bay over Atlanta, obviously. Chargers over Dallas. Tennessee, Seattle over Tennessee. Chiefs over Baltimore. And on Monday night, Detroit and Green Bay, Green Bay. So that's it, folks. We'll be back tomorrow, I believe. Rob's going to come back. Like, subscribe, watch. And we're going to have stars on. I'm working on Derek Jeter. And maybe Joe Torre as well. And we have Pete Sampras coming on. We have Pacquiao eventually is coming on. He said that he's going to come on. He told us. And we have Wayne Embry, who was a legendary GM that put the Toronto Raptors and the Milwaukee Bucks together back in the 70s and today when they won it all. We have them coming on. We have quite a few stars coming on, and the show's growing, and it can't grow without you, though. So we need you to like, to subscribe, to view, and to tell everybody. And I'm sorry I got a little flustered here with these picks, but I get excited. It's football season. What are you going to do? But yeah, that's our show. And this is the Sports Show with Bob Spino signing off. Wishing everybody a happy day, a nice day. And we'll talk to you soon. And we'll be back tomorrow because Rob will be here. So everybody, take care. We'll see you soon.